Good morning and welcome to Bird Base, project headquarters for 30 Days to 1000. Today's April 11th, so I'm going to start folding cranes today, but before I do, I wanted to give you a brief introduction to my project space, just so you know what's behind me, since there are a lot of things that will help you keep track of my progress. So, the first thing I wanted to introduce is the calendar. The calendar runs Sunday to Saturday from just before the project starts all the way to donation day. Each calendar tile will display the date and month-day format on the top and the day of the project on the bottom. As I progress through the 30 days, I'll also be recording how many cranes I fold on any particular day, as well as the total number of cranes I folded up to that point. I realize that the calendar may be hard to see on your computer screen, so I figured out an easy way to help you follow along. This is the tracker crane. It's a paper crane attached to a magnet, so he will stick to any day on the calendar. You can see him, right? Anyways, let me point out the important dates. This is April 11th, today, the first day I will be folding cranes for the project. This is April 25th, day 15, the halfway point. Hopefully I should have 500 cranes at this point. And down here is May 10th, day 30, the day I'm supposed to hit 1,000 cranes. And then, right next to it, is May 11th, donation day, when we will be donating to the American Red Cross. So, let me move on to the next tracking device, which is right below the calendar. This is the pledge total tracker. This equation represents one crane equaling whatever the current pledge level is. I figured that this chart is easy enough to see from your computer screen, so let's move on to this very large chart. This 50-inch tall chart utilizes the data in the calendar to track my crane folding progress against an ideal rate. Basically, I'm charting the number day of the project against the total number of cranes folded on that particular day. This is to compare against the ideal rate represented in red, which is 33.3 cranes for 30 days to hit 1,000 exactly. Okay, here's the thing with the ideal rate. Ideally, in a perfect world, I would fold 33 or 34 cranes a day and reach 1,000 on exactly day 30, and it'd be perfect. But that's an ideal, not reality. Unfortunately, I live in reality. So, some days I'm going to be really busy, some days I'm not going to be really busy. For example, I know I have a paper that I have to write, an art swap that I'm participating in, some family functions coming up, a couple holidays, and honestly, who knows what else is going to happen. So, I will try my hardest to fold at least 33 cranes a day, but some days I may fold a little bit more, and some days I may fold a little bit less. It all depends on what's on my plate. But don't you worry, I will absolutely reach 1,000 cranes by May 10th. Just a little bit more about the chart before I move on. It's done on 10 by 10 graph paper, which means that each inch has 10 squares to it, or 100 squares per square inch. This results in a scale of 1/20th of an inch representing one crane on the y-axis, and half an inch representing one day on the x-axis. While one mark on the x-axis represents one day, one mark on the y-axis represents 10 cranes, so be careful. So, that's the progress chart. I'll be marking my progress on it against the ideal rate every day, and I'll try to get a picture as I move along the line. So, now we get to move on to the last part of the bird base wall. That is the crane board. This corkboard is where I will be mounting all of the cranes. I have 25 needles with 25 strings with 25 beads attached on the bottom. Basically, it ends up that you'll have 40 cranes on each string. Each string's about 1 meter long, and I'm going to do my best to string them as I fold them because it's much easier than trying to string them all at the end, which is what I did when I folded my first 1,000 cranes. Not recommended. So, that concludes our tour of Bird Base. I hope you enjoyed it and that you better understand the instruments behind me. So, when I started shooting, it was around 11 a.m. And now it's 1:30, almost 1:45. Have I folded any cranes yet? Those threads will tell you no, I have not. Which really doesn't bode well, seeing as this is the first day of a 30-day undertaking and I have 1,000 to make. So, I think it's time to start folding. First, I want to introduce you to my co-stars. 1,020 pieces of 3-inch paper that came from a kit specifically made for the 1,000 Cranes project. It's also where I got the beads and the string. Needles I had to provide myself, but my mom's a quilter, so that was pretty easy. So, all this paper is going to be, a bunch of cranes in the next 30 days. And it all starts with one. Alright, welcome to the work table. Here's a pack of paper. It's got a lot of colors that are actually much closer to the top, but for some reason, the very bottom color, the purple, is stored right in the bottom. So, this is going to become our first crane. Now, I'm not going to do this tutorial style because there's 27 bazillion crane tutorials on YouTube. So I'm just going to fold it to document it. I'm not going to film every single crane. I'm not going to film every single one because that's just a little excessive. So probably just the big ones like 1 and 1,000. So I'm going to quit wasting time because I only get 15 minutes in this video, so I'm going to start. Alright, here we go. Half. Half. Preliminary base now. My fingers are cold. Going into the bird base. You know, the bird base, what the project headquarters was named after. It was actually picked in a poll. It was that or Home Basement. At first, Home Basement was winning with 2 votes to 1, and then after I uploaded a photo album saying that it was called Home Basement, suddenly 4 more votes appeared for Bird Base, so I went in and retconned it. So, anyways, this is the bird base, called thus because you can make all sorts of birds and fish from it. Well, like the crane is the most famous bird you can make from it, but I have a really nice book on birds, paper birds, and, you know, they tend to happen from the bird base. There's a head. Time for a tail. 1, 2, 3, ladies and gentlemen, we have a crane. I'm going to go string it now. Hey everyone, do you see what's behind me? Do you see it? Do you see it? There's a spot of purple on the wall. That is the first 3 cranes. 997 to go, but it's a start. Honestly, I tried to record the stringing process, but my microphone cut out and I didn't have the heart to do it again, seeing as I'm going to have to repeat that process 997 more times before this project is over. So maybe I'll catch it for you another day. In the meantime, I have some homework to do and a lot more cranes to fold. So I'm going to sign off and maybe give you a progress update tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then certainly within the next couple of days. Bye, thanks for watching. Okay, no, actually, I do have one more thing to say. I know I made a big deal about the tracker crane and how it's going to help you keep track of the day on the calendar from your computer screen, and then after that demonstration, I left it on donation day. Oops. Okay, so it is not May 11th today. It is, in fact, April 11th, day 1 of the project. I'm still getting used to the system. I apologize.